Well, thanks for having me here today. I'm a little bit different because I'm not a parent and I don't work in the area of children, but I do work in the area of workplace bullying. And so I think Marlene asked me here today to talk to you about the fact that bullying doesn't just end when you graduate from high school. And so I'm going to share my story with you and talk to you a little bit about what I learned from that. So I was working for an organization that's here in San Diego, and it's a nonprofit organization. And I remember starting there, and about 2 weeks in, I went to a staff meeting, and the president was in there, giving us information about this, that, and the other thing. And one individual, his name was Tony, Tony kept kind of putting down the president. No, that's not what we're doing, or, just little kind of whippets at him. And I remember walking away from that staff meeting thinking, well, that was odd. I don't think I'd let people talk to me like that if I was the president. That's insubordination. Little did I know that was just the beginning. So I worked there for 5 years, and I was the HR manager. So not only did I deal with this person trying to bully me, but I dealt with all of the repercussions of his bullying other people as well. I dealt with people crying in my office, turnover, all kinds of things. And the thing that made this person a bully, it's a little bit different when you're an adult because, you're obviously not going to just show up and punch someone or do some of the things that kids maybe do. You have to be a little more under the radar if you're going to bully as an adult. So he did a lot of very severe micromanaging, lots of yelling. He'd ignore people he didn't like and be very friendly with people he did like, and just a lot of things like that. And during that time, I started getting my master's degree, and I ended up doing most of my research on workplace bullying because I found that it was very therapeutic and kind of took it from there. So it was really interesting because I came across the phrase accidentally. I was looking for a topic to write about in a class and found this phrase, and I started reading about it, and I was really shocked to find that I was not the only one, and everything that I was feeling and everything that I was going through and the situation is extremely common. And Devin, I'm getting a little emotional too. So anyway, this really affected my work product. As therapeutic as the research was, I am generally a very high producer. I'm a go-getter. I had worked my way from executive assistant to a director level position. I'd put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this. And my work product really suffered. And in fact, I remember I had a piece of paper over my alarm clock that said, "Get up," so that I would feel inspired to get out of bed and go to work because I hated it so much. And I started feeling, I'm just going to stick it out. Once I get out of grad school, I'll leave if I can just get through having that degree. And I just started showing up late, leaving early. It wasn't really working when I was there. I was so bothered by what I was going through. And one day my boss came in and he said, Catherine, we need to talk. I don't understand what's going on. What's happened? For the last probably 6 months, you've just really gotten out of control with your work product. I know you're late all the time. It doesn't seem like you're producing. What's happening? And I burst into tears and I said, you know what? I hate working here. And I hate what you let Tony do to this organization. And, I think I'm going to give you my 30-day notice. I think I probably should just leave. And he said, if you're that unhappy, you should leave now. And he watched me pack my stuff and leave. And on the way home, I had no idea how I was going to pay my rent or buy myself groceries. This was not what I was expecting my day to go like. But as I drove home, I realized that this monkey that I'd been carrying around on my back literally climbed out the window. I could feel my shoulders get back up. The colors literally looked brighter. I was driving through my neighborhood, which is Hillcrest. It's a very colorful place, and I noticed the buildings seemed a little brighter. As much as I didn't know what was going to happen to me and as stressed out as I was about not having a job, I was a lot happier. And so then fast forward a little bit of time, I ended up getting another job at a marketing company. And, I was still kind of finishing grad school, so everyone I worked with there knew that I focused on workplace bullying, so they would talk with me about it. And the guy in the cubicle next to me would talk about Rick, my new boss. Don't you think Rick's a bully? And I said, I don't think so at all. I'm really energized by him. So he was definitely very assertive, sometimes aggressive. We worked in this great environment. We had a bright orange wall, and it was very startup kind of a place. And he was very assertive and could be mean, but it energized me. It was a very different scenario. But one day I made a mistake with a client's email. So I was responsible for sending out marketing emails on behalf of our clients. And I made a terrible mistake. And Rick, the boss, wrote an email, and for some reason he felt the need to CC everybody in the office. And the email basically said, you made a horrible mistake, kind of cussed me out. It was a really negative email. And I thought, I could not do anything, that's option A, and then I could become like my cubicle mate and be bullied moving forward. Or I can stand up for myself, which is something I hadn't done previously with the other bully. So I hit reply to all. I wanted everybody to know I was going to respond. I hit reply to all. I never apologized for my mistake. I admitted it. I wasn't going to try to get away with it or pretend it didn't happen, but I did not apologize. I said, Rick, I made a mistake. Here are the 5 options I recommend. Which option would you like me to do so I can correct this? And by the way, any other conversations we have about my mistake will take place in your office behind a closed door. And I hit send, and my heart dropped. And I just sat there going, what's going to happen to me? And about 30 seconds, he must have gotten the email immediately, because about 30 seconds later, he opened his door, and I was in this giant room about like this, where it was just cubicles. He could hear everybody talking. And he comes busting out of his door, and he says, Catherine, that was a great email. I deserve that. Way to put the hammer down. So I was never bullied in that organization. And I started thinking about this person next to me who felt bullied by Rick. And what I realized is it was the communication. I had felt bullied, and it was because I never stood up for myself until it was too late. And then it took a downward spiral, and I started calling in sick and just trying to avoid, and I had gone to a really dark place. I was extremely depressed. I had a sign over my alarm clock to inspire me to get out of bed. And in this situation, I thought, no way, I'm not doing this again. I'm going to nip it in the bud. Now, the reason I bring this up, I realize this isn't about parenting, but this next part is. So what I realized as I started doing research on workplace bullying is that there's definitely a correlation between being bullied as a child and being bullied as an adult. And there's a correlation between being a bully as a child and being a bully as an adult. So you learn kind of a mode of operation. You learn as a child, if you continue to be bullied, that kind of works. That's how I guess I'm going to go through life. And the research shows that adults who claim to be bullied, they feel targeted, feel bullied at the next job, and the next job after that, and the next job after that. And so the phrase that resonates with me is learned helplessness. And I have a mentor who focuses on positive psychology, and she taught me this phrase, learned helplessness. And I think that's where a lot of that's coming from. And so that's why I'm so honored to be here with everyone who is talking about how to avoid teaching your child helplessness, because I think that's the common denominator there. So we need to teach children resilience and communication skills and how to stand up for themselves so that they can use those skills, because bullying does not end just because you graduate from high school. And unfortunately, it's not in the news so much, but adults handle bullying much the same way that children do. They also commit suicide because they're bullied at work. They also act out in violent, ways, to as a reactive kind of a thing. So it's not different. It just isn't in the media quite as much. So, let's do all the things we need to do to teach children resilience. And unfortunately, in the workplace bullying realm, the problem is that it's a new thing, so if somebody's feeling sexually harassed at work, they can go to their HR manager and repeat the joke that was told, and the HR manager can say, yep, that sounds like sexual harassment to me, let's move forward. But when you're being bullied as an adult, it's hard for a target to even acknowledge that they're being bullied as an adult. It's hard to admit to yourself that you're in that same situation that you were once when you were in 7th grade, you know. So in HR, because it's new, HR doesn't really know what to do with a complaint like that. So there's a lot of things that I'm working on to help push forward this, and end workplace bullying. But just am here to let you know that, or exasperate the problem, right? That bullying doesn't just end, when we're children. So thank you very much.